Welcome to Ashley on CBD, your one-stop podcast where we drop the truth on all things CBD and maybe some pop culture too. Stick around as we delve deep into the practical health benefits of CBD for you.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm very excited about today's show. It's going to be part one of a multi-segment series with Guy Stephen Needler, who is the author of The Origin Speaks, a direct dialogue with the ultimate creator. Now, I want everybody to have an open mind with this conversation. Really, it's something that I think can help everyone, regardless of your beliefs. It's a positive message, and it's an amazing book. It's something I came across in my studies around meditation and self-improvement. Came across this book, picked it up, started reading it, and couldn't put it down. Then reached out to Guy Needler, and he responded, which I'm very thankful for. And here we are today with part one of a multi-part segment with Guy Stephen Needler. I hope you enjoy it and have a great day. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Today's show is always brought to you by Magic Immuna Tea. This is a great tasting new mushroom tea that I've been drinking for immune support, as well as it helps me have strong lungs, a healthy heart, and a good gut. It's also a neuro optimizer for your brain, which keeps me calm, gives me focused energy, no jitters. There's no caffeine in this beverage. Instead, it's packed with life, as they say. It contains 4 medicinal mushrooms, reishi, lion's mane, chaga, and cordyceps, as well as 12 other organic and natural adaptogens, including cacao and ginger and turmeric. Give it a try. Magic Immuna Tea. You can get it at packedwithlife.com. I'm drinking some right now on ice. Tastes great. You can feel the health right now. Get you some today at packedwithlife.com.
Hi there, Ashley. Can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Needler. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great to meet you.
See you, sir.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been mesmerized by The Origin Speaks over the last month.
Oh, wow.
I just discovered it and haven't been able to put it down. I've got 5 pages of notes. I'm so honored to talk to you. So thank you for agreeing to be on the show.
It's a pleasure to be on your show. Don't worry. It's always great to be part of other people's way of broadcasting the truth in whatever particular version that ends up being. It's great to be able to do so. Thank you.
Yeah, well, and thank you for honoring me that way. I mean, it's really what I'm trying to do here. You know, I got involved in the cannabis space several years ago. I had an accident, which led to devastating injuries that then cannabis seemed to really positively impact and help me. Through that journey, I've met a lot of people who have, became, cannabis was a catalyst toward improvement, right? And toward opening up to meditation or other types of ways to really heal. And I'm one of those, right? So I just have, my life has changed completely for the positive. I operate probably on the other side of the coin for a lot of my old friends versus the way I am now. But it's been an amazing journey. And when I read your book, I just immediately, immediately felt drawn to reach out and try to share this with other people. I think.
Thank you. Well, just for your own sort of assistance, really, the books that I've written are channel books, so it's me being the middleman, so to speak, and the information is actually progressive. So if you dive in straight to The Origin Speaks and you understand it, brilliant. But usually, people need to go from the history of God to the Beyond the Source 1, then 2, then Avoiding Karmas on its own. Then you have obviously The Origin Speaks, and the And Dialogue is on its own, and then you have The Curators, and the new one that's come out is about healing. But I'm doing another one which is called the Om now, which is also going into some deep stuff. So I was hoping to finish that this year, but then I don't think it will be finished this year.
Well, I kind of gathered from what I've read of your work. It just, it comes to you when it comes to you, and you're kind of on or not, right? And that's part of the
yeah. I think it's probably the
fascination.
same. Yeah, that's probably the same with most people who are channeling information. It comes when it comes, and that's it. You get it or you don't.
Well, I'm definitely going to go and explore the rest of your catalog. I don't know how, I can't remember how I came in contact with the Origin Speaks, but whatever snippet I read about it, it spoke to me, and I immediately ordered it, and I just dove in right from there. But I'm definitely intrigued to learn more about your messages.
Well, it's on Amazon, it's on Kindle, it's on Barnes and Noble's website, it's on all the e-book platforms, from what I can remember. And also, you can get it direct from the publisher as well. I don't know if that's cheaper. That's probably cheaper going to Amazon, to be honest. But
yeah, most things are, right?
yeah, of course, clearly.
Yeah,
the power of supermarket level buying.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's a topic for another day, I guess.
Yeah.
What, just diving into this, what can you tell me about your life? What in becoming aware that you had this special gift? Like, what were the signs? When did it become clear? Just share with us some background in that regard.
Well, really, I've always been interested in metaphysical things. I can even remember being like 4 or 5, and saying to my mother, I can see the wind going up between the 2 houses that we lived in. We lived in quite a small area. And I saw the wind go up the wall and across the roof and around the chimney. And she sort of yelled down, because I was in my bedroom at the time. And she sort of yelled to me saying, "Don't be so stupid. Nobody can see the wind." It's quite clear that I could see the wind, because it appeared a little bit like smoke, but that's sort of, or should I say, the haze that you would expect sort of heat to be, basically, but it was actually wind. So it's quite interesting when I saw that, and I sort of continued from there onwards. I was seeing things that other people weren't seeing. Plenty of sort of astral traveling at night time, during my sort of sleeping time, and I continued to read things and practice things like astral traveling. Tried bilocation. I was about 13 or 14, and then went into reading stuff that I was given by people who'd read things like, for instance, Lobsang Rampa. I mean, that was I've read the first books of Lobsang Rampa, which devoured them, and it felt so real and so natural. And then one of the books was called You Forever, and this guy was a Tibetan monk who his body had actually died, but his soul walked into another body, which was a plumber in the States. And so basically, this guy had moved into this body and started to write books about his time as a monk, as a lama. And this one book called You Forever was supposed to be a correspondence course, but then it stopped, and he thought that idea wasn't going to work very well. So he created a book out of it, and he taught things like psychometry, which is touching things and getting the information from them, telekinesis, meditation, astral traveling, and a whole bunch of other bits and pieces. And as a result of that, I read that book, and I worked on the meditation side. A few years down the line, I was meditating in the morning, and I received a very strange sort of response, because I suddenly found myself, I wouldn't say surrounded, but confronted by 4 individuals who were in white robes. They didn't speak to me as such, but they sort of portrayed an image and a sort of state of feeling or communication that was holistic. That's the best way I can describe it now. Mm-hmm. And so what they did is they told me that what I was doing was right, what I was researching into was right, but it wasn't the right time. And so from that day onwards, I basically stopped being as much metaphysical as I was then, and became the average person. Well, we're all average people, aren't we? And mm-hmm. And I became the typical person, really, which was basically seeking promotion at work, looking to try and find the best house we could do with my lovely wife, who I ended up getting married to. And we just went down the whole sort of immersed in my incarnation route. And then a friend who was on a course, was on an MBA course, and they basically wanted to know if I was fit. So I knew I was into metaphysical things, but sort of at a distance. Was I interested in doing a Reiki share night? And I said, not really. Not really interested in it at all. But anyway, over a period of 6 or 7 months, I was pestered. and I eventually went. And a year later, I ended up being a Reiki master. That Reiki master was a friend, was also a friend of somebody else I knew who's also into metaphysics and was also on this master's degree course. Mm-hmm. And he had another friend who was a Reiki master. And at the time, we were going backwards and forwards to see this chap in Sweden because he used to work where I used to work. And we'd stay with him, and it was a place called Trollhättan, which is outside of Gothenburg, but it's nice, a lovely little sleepy village. If they have a traffic jam, there's 6 cars, that's that sort of thing. And his Reiki master said that you've got to go on a certain walk in a certain location because there's something important going to happen for Guy. And basically, what happened is we went on this walk through a steam train museum down through some woods to a pathway that sort of followed this river back towards Trollhättan. And as we walked down there, everything started to tingle basically, and I felt a real strong need to sit down and meditate on a particular rock, just happened to be isolated by the river because it was like a little island. So Anne and my friend, they said, well, we'll walk up to the suspension bridge, which is basically a pedestrian suspension bridge, and we'll wait for you there. Anyway, I ended up going to such a deep meditation that they ended up coming back. But before they came back, they said that they noticed a presence above me. There was something going on, and that they felt I was being rewired. Well, what was happening? I was having a massive download, and I couldn't speak 2 or 3 words together afterwards. But as I saw that, as it all finished and it settled down, they came back, and I looked around, and it was a completely windless day. There was no wind at all, but the trees across the river were doing that, like the sort of thing you expect from the downwash from a helicopter's propellers. Mm-hmm. And again, the water around it was really, really choppy. And as I sort of focused, I started to see these sort of almost like biomechanical vehicles hanging around there, a mixture of like a cone and an octopus, you want to call it that, or a squid. And I was looking hard, and it became more and more visible. And then I had this huge voice booming in my head saying, don't strain, it will undo what we've just done. You need to relax and let things calm down, and you'll start to see in about 5 years' time what this is all about. So I stopped, and then they just disappeared in the background, and all this wind just suddenly stopped as well. We came back, and we all wrote up what we experienced, which is quite good because it ended up being part of the history of God later. After this, I ended up going on to, or I was invited to go on to a healing course that was run by a lady who took over from a healer I was using in a place called King's Heath in Birmingham. So I was getting stressed out about a maths exam. I was doing another master's degree in colour imaging and digital imaging and colour science, and the maths was appalling. Mm-hmm. And I was getting quite stressed out with it. So I was having this homeopathic treatment and some energy healing, and this guy said, I'm actually moving, but this other lady's going to come along and take over from me. Within 2 or 3 weeks, he said, I'm going to do a course. I'm going to teach people exactly how I was taught by a lady called Barbara Brennan. Now, you may know Barbara Brennan. She's about 81, 82 now, but she was one of the leading individuals to introduce a scientific way of understanding energy healing in not just the States, but the world. And she was part of a trio of people. There was Eva and John Piriakos, who were, he was basically a medical, a doctor, and he created a function of using filters where he could see the human aura properly. And later he didn't need those filters. His wife used to channel what I call source. And then there's other people, Susan and Donovan Tsenga, they created a way of cleansing oneself so that you didn't pass on your stuff to your patients. So all of this was incorporated into this course. And so I went on this course. I did a weekend sort of try it out course, and then signed up for a whole 4 years, which was really hard. It was the hardest 4 years I've ever done, because you have to sort yourself out psychologically, you have to sort yourself out spiritually, and then to sort out the understanding of the techniques and work with other people on this as well. And the homework was horrendous, lots of it. And we had to do lots of writing associated with it as well. So it was more work than any of my master's degrees, to be honest. So it was incredible. But while we were doing it, we were supposed to be going through a process of opening our chakras to be able to elevate our frequencies to the levels of those chakras and heal things like the energy systems that those chakras were associated with, and the chakras themselves. But some of the students, we used to share this. We used to sort of share each other. One person would be the healer, another person would be the patient. But some of the ladies were saying that they were getting freaked out by what they were observing or perceiving when I was healing them, and quite stressed out with it. And this lady, the instructor, a lady called Helen Stott, said, "You're going too high." I said, "What do you mean going too high? There's only 7 levels, isn't there?" She said, "Well, wherever you're going too high." She said, "I don't understand it, but you're going too high. Control it." So I got told off in front of the class. Not good.
You were going up into like 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, well beyond that. I mean, I've since know that there are 3 more levels associated with the construction of the human body, right. Not just the gross physical aspect and the energetic. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll do my best to control it while I'm here, but then when I'm at home, let's work out what's going on. So I started to create a system of understanding which had developed over a long period of time, where I could work out where I was and go back there in a robust way. And so over a period of time, I started to go to these different places. Before I went to work, I'd meditate, and I'd share my meditation information with my wife. And I noticed that I was given a gift of total recall. Everything that I'd observed in when I was doing meditation before I went to work, I could type up at lunchtime, and the whole lot came through. And I used to call these my meditational meanderings, because they're a bit all over the place at first, but I could start to sort of put things together and make it flow, similar subject matters together. And then eventually, I realized that the information I got wasn't available anywhere else in the metaphysical world. Neil Walsh was becoming prominent. Eckhart Tolle was prominent, and there's other people who was, Ram Dass was looking prominent, and the information was good stuff. But I was on a different level, not in terms of not different level, but different area, different location. That makes sense. So I thought, well, let's have a go at compiling it. So from when I started to realize this, which is about 2003, 2004, so I've been writing since 2000. I collated this book and submitted it to a number of different publishers who weren't interested. One was, but it ended up being self-published. And as I just got the contract for self-publishing it, I got a contract through from Dolores Cannon's publishing house called Ozark Mountain Publishing. And they offered to publish it as a proper author. And what I didn't realize was that Dolores was very interested in the information I got. And she sort of took me under her wing, basically, and promoted what I was doing. And we had a number of conferences I attended in Arkansas. And when she came across to the UK to do a sort of lecture tour, I followed her around and did a little bit of my stuff. And basically, it's continued from there, really. They've supported me all the way. It's been brilliant. So 8 books later, working on a 9th, workshops as well.
So how old were you when you received the download?
I was 39.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 39. So so just after I'd started becoming more interested in metaphysical things.
And then how long did it take for you to start to see these changes in yourself and understand what was the time perspective there?
Well, I started to notice things a little bit more when we were on a march, because we joined a march in London to stop the fighting that was going on in the Middle East. Our government had got involved with it, and your government was involved with it, and all sorts of things were going on. Mm-hmm. And we didn't want to go. We didn't want it to happen. So we went on a march to hopefully stop it or reduce it. Didn't work, of course. Mm-hmm. And when that was happening, I noticed I could pick up why people were there and what was going on with them, and what their motives were. And also later on, we went to Vatican. We were walking around the Vatican, and I was picking up what people's life plans were and everything else. So I thought, so I knew there was something else going on. And so based upon that, I started to realize that I was becoming more and more connected. And the meditations I used to have to get to these levels became easier and easier and easier, to the point where I was connected all the time, or could just turn it on and turn it off like a switch. And so that would have been, that was around 2004, 2005. I was starting to understand there was something else going on. And around that time, I finished the healing course as well. So I was starting to focus more on the book then, rather than the having to work on the homework for the healing. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
One of the
what a journey. When I look back, it's amazing how it all worked. But then again, following the flow, going with the flow is what we're supposed to be doing.
That's a perfect segue. That's you read my mind. So one of the things that I found to just be completely liberating, from the book is, and I'm on my notes. I didn't write down if it was you speaking or the origin. So forgive me if I'm quoting one or the other, but the fact that event space recreates itself as a function of detecting the possibility of possible possibilities. And it's programmed to work out in terms of supporting the most optimal evolutionary next step.
That's the origin.
That is huge, right? I mean, I'm trying to get to that point where I can get rid of all fear, of what the fears that I have, right, in order to take advantage of this reality. And I think that, in terms of that regard, everything's destined to happen. Am I reading it correctly that the destiny is per cosmic flow, as you just said, and that even the bad things that happen to us are designed to help us lead to the light in some way?
Well, we think of things as good and bad. We're in a dualistic environment called the physical universe. And so we have male and female, positive, negative, up and down, left and right, forwards and backwards, good and bad. There is no good and bad in real terms. It's just experience.
Good and bad feelings, I guess I should clarify. The feeling of, loss, for example, with a loved one.
Yeah. And we do feel it. I felt it when I lost Anne to the disease that she had. And we're supposed to feel it, because that's what we're here for.
Right.
But when you start to realize that everything that's happening or will happen has already happened, it's all concurrent, but it's just that we are in such a low frequency that we're experiencing it in a linear way. Do you think? And that basically there's a whole bunch of me experiencing multiple versions of the same thing, because I've made choices. And we all do these choices. That there's different event spaces with different me's who've gone down different paths, all experiencing it together. You start to realize that, okay, maybe I'm experiencing something I classify in my human terms as being bad now, but maybe there's another part of me which is also experiencing the really good side. So should I worry about experiencing the good side? No, I'll deal with what I'm doing now because that's my role here now. Should I worry about those parts of me that are experiencing a really bad side? No, because they're dealing with that and I'm dealing with the good side still. So it's part of understanding that we're experiencing that which we've chosen to focus on, not because it's the right or wrong thing to do, but because it's something that we've particularly focused this part of our sentience on as being an interesting thing to experience. Does that make any sense?
It does, and I think
health benefits
it kind of
of
speaks to another
CBD for you.
I have.